Okay, I can see it's live streaming on YouTube now.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for letting me know. Can you are you able to watch it on YouTube?
Yes, I was able to watch it on YouTube.
Okay, okay, all right. All right. Good morning, everyone. Please let me know if you can hear me audibly. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right, all right. Thank you very much. Um, it's night time where I am. It's just about 4 a.m. Um, so I'm trying to relax my earpods to do a very good job so I don't have to shout. Okay. All right. Good morning once again, everyone. It's great. It's been great having this over a couple of days now, over a week actually. And it has been quite interesting engagements here um, every day for the past 6, 7 days now. Um, and it has been great hosting this as well with Dr. Makinde Ifeoluwa. We hope I can see that we have Dr. Charles Ibe, we have Dr. Ibrahim. Um, I'm still I'm still hoping um, the VTN president will be joining us. Uh, the messages I sent to her since yesterday, she hasn't seen them. So I hope she has not forgotten us and that she'll still be joining us. I want to believe that. All right. Without wasting much time, once again, my name is Timilayo Yebade. I'm a 2019 graduate of veterinary medicine from the University of Ibadan, and recently completed my master's degree in public health in the United Kingdom. Yeah, I'll allow my co-host to introduce himself. Dr. Makinde, can you introduce yourself, please?
I am Dr. Makinde, 2019 graduate of Veterinary Medicine, University of Ibadan. I currently practice in Minna, the Niger State capital. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Um, I'm trying to see if we have, well, aside the VCM president, I'm trying to see if we have every other person here. Doctor, do we have Dr. Alima? I don't see her here. No, I don't think she's here. Sorry, just a minute. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Let me just text her again. Well, unfortunately, I don't see her online. I don't see her online. All right. We'll just continue with the other two candidates we have on ground. Our two other candidates do not seem like they will be joining us. Hopefully, maybe they might be able to join in the middle, but at the moment, I don't see them trying to connect or anything. Yeah, so we'll just have to proceed. All right. Thank you once again for waiting. We can invite more people to join us. The live stream, as announced, is also open for anyone that wants to stream. We are okay. We are Yeah, we're streaming at the moment. We're hoping that we might exceed the capacity, which is 100 people. Because of the peculiarity of today's session, I know a lot of people might want to ask quite a lot of questions, especially if we happen to have the VCM presidents to join us. Yeah, so we've opened the YouTube line, your YouTube link, YouTube channel, whatever, for live streaming. So if this exceeds 100 people, please feel free to join or invite people to join the YouTube channel to stream live. Yeah, thank you very much. Without taking further time, we'll just start with the two people we have here while we try to reach out to the other two candidates by text or by call. Okay, I see Dr. Alima is now online. and she has just seen my message on WhatsApp. So yeah, she's on the link now. All right. Yes, so we'll be starting with the presentations. We're starting with the presentations. Each candidate has 10 minutes to present their manifesto or whatever you may want to call it. But we want to hear what you have in plan. We understand that it's teamwork. We understand that it's a board. You cannot make decision alone. But I think overall, the agenda of each candidate is what would determine the overall outlook of the board. So that is why we are doing this, to understand what each of the candidates has to offer, so that in the end people um, can vote for people of like minds, people with similar agenda, aligning agenda. Yeah, so at least so that the VCM will be able to achieve a singular or multiple agenda that is aligned to the vision of the veterinary community. So that's why we are doing this, while we do not totally negate the communal efforts, communal organization of the VCM board. Yeah, but yes, so we would like to start with Dr. Charles Ibe. Each candidate has 10 minutes to introduce their manifesto and to round off. We try not to cut you off in the middle of your thoughts, but once you start exceeding 11, 12 minutes, we might have to interject with your in the middle of your conversation. All right, so Dr. Charles Ibe, the floor
I
is
hope,
yours, 10 minutes.
Timmy, I hope my being number one is not just to make me a sacrificial lamb, but it's okay. I, I welcome everybody, my professional brothers and sisters. Thank you very much. And 2009, I asked you for your votes, and you both gave me your votes and your prayers. And today I'm asking you again for your votes and asking you for your prayers. That's because there's a complicity of two of them to make a fait accompli. And we should really know where we're coming from so that we know where we're heading to. The board, as it is today, I don't know what makes them to be in disarray. Infractions, total disobedience to our diversities, total disobedience to our inclusivities. Why? The president and the vice president from one state, because of personal ethos, the president and the vice president in the initial stanza from one section of the country. Is that the way we run a board that's supposed to carry everybody from Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, up to Sokoto? I think the first and fundamental is to go to the fundamental and deal with our inclusivity. And I will say it with pomp and candor, if I am elected and the president and vice president are from the South, where I belong, I'll quit. I don't deal with compact of children. We are going there to mount up, to bring up our citadel. We're not going there to play selfish personal politics. Because what is bringing all these things? At the exclusivity of the whole country. When you come to ask for votes, you ask vote for the whole country. And then when you want to take up positions, you take up positions on selfish ethos. That's not the best. We must include our inclusivity from the fundamental. And that's why they're in disarray, quarreling, going to the ministry to be looking for registrar. Meanwhile, you have somebody that's supposed to take on in the ministry, in the VCN. Everything is not personal power. There is a due schedule to your power, and you must observe yourself, submit yourself to that schedule. Every member of the board is complicit. Because if they refuse, I've asked them, when you went to the ministry to ask for registrar, is that our norm? Did it pass the F&GPC? Did it pass through the board? And they were saying no. Some people were saying yes. 90% saying no from that board. And what he would have done is to dysfunction that decision, because he have power to veto that decision, torpedo that decision. And when you bring the registrar and back and forth, Norala came, and all the good things they have got torpedoed. I think the best thing to do is to go to the fundamental and deal with our issues. Deal with our issues first, to have a registrar, substantive registrar. And I will tell you, a profession that has not less than 8 vice chancellors, former vice chancellors, you cannot put them. They have hired registrars, they have given contracts, and that's a function of F&GPC. It's not about you. It is let the job be done. Because if you jump into the system of you. Polish our members. There are a lot of vets who are really interested in doing the work, but you have to invite them to do the work for you. It's not about you being president or chairman of F&GPC or chairman. In fact, I don't think there's tenders board. That means there's total dislocation of the system. And once you have a total dislocation of the system, you have system failure. Good thing. And I thank this outgoing board. They have the digital face. Oh, beautiful, excellent, and we're enjoying it today. But the thing is, I can't put something on nothing and it will work. First of all, make a regulation that empower MVMA. Everything we're doing, the engine room of this, our profession, is MVMA. You can't leave them behind. They will go and fight for you to register veterinary premises so that you can import veterinary drugs, you can run your veterinary pharmacy, and you cannot collect dues from vets. Pharmacy is doing it, medicine is doing it. Common Oyo State, sorry, not common, sorry, brothers and sisters. Oyo State is struggling. But if you collect their dues at source, they can't struggle with their court cases. How many times have they gone to look into their court cases? You want them to lose the case, and then our profession will be lost in Oyo State, and subsequently in that cascading order, we'll lose our profession in other states. Your regulating practices should conform with our norm. If you empower MVMA, you have done a lot of things. Chasing quacks will be so easy because they have the fund. They can maintain the vehicles. They can mobilize the police. After all, when I was MVMA president, because I didn't send myself there, we mobilized 56 vets in the Nigerian police force. But you can't call them out to do a work if you don't empower them to do the work, because they are lacking funds. So go back to that originality. So if we're able to get it, and chasing our quacks will be so easy because they have the funds to chase the quacks. In fact, pharmacy, 2002, I registered Vetzyme. Before I became MVMA president in 2009, I stopped that rubbish in NAFDAC, whereby they use pharmacy council certificate to register products. That means you have to get pharmacy council certification. I stopped it as MVMA president, and then veterinary council's license on it. I employed a pharmacist, one on the board, one as superintendent pharmacy. I paid his PSN, paid his PCN, and Pharmaceutical Society and Pharmaceutical Council, paid the Community Pharmacy Association as I'm registering that premises. Until I came on board, I said, enough is enough. How can veterinary council do so to MVMA? MVMA is the most, in fact, I don't know, is the engine room. Because they can stand up and say one thing, VCN cannot do it. Government doesn't fight government. So it is just one thing you do, everything will fall in place. The president and the vice president in the former stanza. Meanwhile, The vice president has a program called Talk that can bring a lot of ingenuity into a training and retraining. They're not using it because they are elected to go and quarrel. Have not seen this kind of thing, I'm honestly. You are going there, and one thing I tell those, maybe because of my experience in politics, there's no enmity in politics. Who you can use to do the job, do the job. Important thing is get the job done. Get the job done. Colliding with chief veterinary officer, colliding with MVMA, colliding here. That's not why you went there. And I am not saying it's the VCM president that is causing, it's the board, because effective followership drives good leadership. The board kept mute until Norala wanted to perpetuate himself. Then Norala came because they asked for him indirectly. When he came, he has no business with the board. He has no business with the status quo. He was sole administrator doing his decree because he went there first to invite the bees. And you have to be strong. So let us go back. Go back to our foundation, the engine room of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria. The engine room, so to say, is the committees you set up. From anywhere, everybody can be a member of committee. And if we get to the next stage and the upper stage, all the members of the contesting will be members of one committee or the other to drive the force of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria. The creating veterinary environment, when you empower NVMA, you are creating environment because they are the one to chase all those issues at the grassroots. Because you have money at the grassroots. You can't papa your money in Abuja. Contractors and workers are not paid, colleagues are not paid their salaries, and contractors are paid their salaries. Colleagues, you swore to protect. Nobody is a subservient. So these are the little issues we should deal with once, and then zero to corruption. If you're not interested in awarding contract, you're not interested in FNGPC, you bring people who are more knowledgeable than you to handle the FNGPC. How can't we have a registrar? How can't people who have done contract, former commissioners? They're all domiciled and warehoused in veterinary profession.
Well, 1 minute left, sir.
I think I've rounded up, and I think people should know the flow based on experience, how we should go and get things done and done rightly. I'm done for now.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. That was quite powerful. Yes, so without taking up too much time, I would like to go straight to Dr. Ibrahim Adoshehu. 10 minutes, over to you, sir.
Good morning, colleagues. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, colleagues. I'm Dr. Ibrahim Adoshehu from Jigawa State. I graduated from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria in 2011. And also did my master's in veterinary epidemiology in same Ahmadu Bello University, which I graduated in 2018. I work with Jigawa State government as Deputy Director of Veterinary Services. Over the course of my veterinary career, I joined the Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association in 2014. After the anniversary crisis that had NVMA in limbo for a year. So I joined as a financial secretary, where I served 2 terms as financial secretary From then, I was elected vice president of the Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association in Sokoto in 2018. Then after that, I was, after the unfortunate demise of our president in 2020 during the COVID, Professor Bello Mohamed Agaye, I resumed as the acting president of the Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association, where I served for a year and a half. This is just a brief of my journey in the last 14 years as a veterinarian. Excuse me. So over these 14 years, I've worked with veterinarians in Nigeria from all spheres and all aspects, both the young and the old. And one thing I've come to realize is there's actually a very big gap between the older vets and the younger vets. And if we want to flourish as a body, as veterinarians, as professionals, we then need to put in mechanisms that will close that big gap. We all need to carry everybody along. The oath the veterinarians took 20, 30 years ago is still the oath the veterinarians are finishing vet school today are taking. And we have all one goal and one aim: advancement of the veterinary profession. And we all swore that oath that we wanted it to be a lifelong obligation on us that we swore. So I don't know about everybody here, whatever religion you practice, you know how an oath is. And if you swear an oath, you will be held accountable for it. So we all swore oath to advance the veterinary profession. And the little we can do to advance the veterinary profession will go a long way. We still have a population of over 200 million people in Nigeria from the estimates, and we don't have up to 12,000 practicing veterinarians. On the register, I think we have 11,000 or so veterinarians. Out of those 11,000, how many have died? How many have left the country? How many have changed profession? So if you take a total look at the veterinary profession, you see that I don't think we have 5,000 veterinarians that are hands-on in Nigeria that are doing the work that is supposed to be done to a population of 200 plus million. So you see, there's a very big gap. We have veterinary schools that are turning in graduates year in, year out. We have veterinarians coming out of school with no clear path of where they should go or where they should be. If you are chanced, your state gives you job, fine. If not, you will be left in the wilderness without anything to do. So these are the things that if you sit down and take a holistic look at the veterinary profession, honestly, we have a lot of problems. We do have. And nobody is going to solve our problems for us. We all have to come back, sit down, and together solve these problems, because the pharmacist does not care if there is a fire in our house. So does the medics, so does the animal scientist. But we know where the fire is. We know our peculiarities. We know our problems. And it is only we that can sit down and solve our problems. I always say this: the veterinary profession does not owe any of us anything. The veterinary profession was here before us all, and the veterinary profession will still be here after all of us are gone. So there is no room for me to be to form anonymity or anything with anyone that calls them a veterinarian. Anybody that is a veterinarian, I consider him a friend, I consider him a brother. And if we can all come together and work together, there's no doubt. I've worked with veterinarians, as I said earlier, there's no doubt we can take this profession to greater heights. The veterinarian is the complete professional you can think of, because any aspect that you can think of this life, of Nigeria, for example, in context, if you put a veterinarian there that is committed to doing the work, you will see wonders. So honestly, I thought as a young, I identify as a young veterinarian, by the way, and I thought being young and with the experience I've gathered over the course of these few years that I've mentioned, the young veterinarians deserve a voice, deserve a seat in the board. So that's why I decided to go for a position in the Veterinary Council of Nigeria to see how we can bridge that gap. There is an enormous gap between the older ones and the younger ones. The younger ones, most of our times, feel left out, feel they are not contributing their quota, which if they have someone that has the experience and that understands their situation and understands the language they speak, it will be easier to get the message across, to deliver and bridge that gap. And together we can all come together and see that we put the veterinary profession on the global map, as we have always been doing, even with all the problems, all the skeletal services, all the things that are not going as they should. Our colleagues, our friends, our brothers and sisters in the veterinary profession have been flourishing for decades. Anywhere you go in the world, anywhere, any university, any research institute, any apparatus of government that you go all over the world, we have veterinarians in those places and they are making impacts. So if we can all collectively make our own little contributions, we can change the narrative. As during my 9 years stint in the Nigerian Veterinary Medical Associations, we were able to implement some little reforms, like digitization of the NVMA was among the projects I started when I was financial secretary, and we made, as with the coming of the technology, and we keep improving. And today the NVMA has a very robust technology-based database. The one in the council currently, it's good. They are doing their best to see we all align with the 21st century, with the current realities of technology-driven innovations. And with the effort the current board has put in place to get things started, we will need people that really understand from where we were and where we're going, to see how we can consolidate on those gains. If there are places they have had, I think we can also come collectively and take a holistic look and see how we can correct them, so that in the brotherhood of us all being professional brothers and sisters, we can change the narrative. If you have someone as elderly as Professor Tomori, he goes about when there's any veterinary function. He has reached the peak of the peak, but he still involves himself with everything veterinary medicine because he's proud to be a veterinarian. So I think we should also all be proud to be veterinarians. I think I will stop here.
Thank you very much, sir.
Assessment time is up. So thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate that. It was quite softly spoken. Thank you very much, sir. We would like to move now to Dr. Alima Gambo.
Thank you.
Over to you, ma. Thank you very much, ma.
All right. Good morning, fellow colleagues. It is an honor for me to be here, to be given opportunity and a platform to, talk about my aspirations for the membership of the Veterinary Council. My name is Halima Idrisa Gambo. I'm an associate professor of veterinary pathology. I've had almost 27 years of practice. In these 27 years, about 21 have been spent in teaching and training veterinarians. I've made my contributions in several spheres of the profession. I was a one-time treasurer of the Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association in the Borno State chapter from 2009 to 2011. And a one-time head of department veterinary pathology. And I'm currently the chairperson of the Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association in Borno State. Under my leadership, I have, we've tried to secure significant support for the veterinary community. These include, amongst several others, the donation of a brand new 13-seater bus from the First Lady of Borno State. We've also, under my leadership, been able to secure full sponsorship for 50 veterinarians to attend the annual national conference of the NVME over 3 consecutive years. This has been taking place since I assumed leadership in January 2022. And then for the first time in the history, I think, of the nation, we were able to launch an emergency animal response initiative during the flooding in Maiduguri in September last year. This has significantly propelled the profession. It has significantly projected the role of veterinarians in managing crisis situations. I was invited to the Emergency Operations Center when the flood broke out or when the flood occurred. And most of the focus of the government was, of course, to rescue human lives and others. But we brought their attention to the fact that animals' life matter too. And then not just the public health aspect of it. We were able to evacuate animals, rescue some, and then give immediate emergency treatment for those that were needed, and then also to evacuate carcasses so as to prevent environmental contamination. This has greatly brought the profession to the consciousness of the government and the populace. And then in our bid to, propagate the veterinary profession, we are currently having a weekly program with NTA on the importance of about animal health, and then the importance of veterinarians in having healthy livestock and in the livestock industry. These have been some of the contributions, of course, among several others. For instance, I've been teaching, like I said, for the past 2 decades, for over 2 decades, and I've contributed my quota in training and mentoring veterinarians. Having said this, I have followed the profession, the changing trends over time. From the time I was trained to what we are doing now, I have seen the increase in the intake of students to study veterinary medicine. I have also seen the challenges that comes with that. But several speakers over the time have spoken about the challenges we are having. Yes, it's true, we do have challenges, but I'm a highly optimistic individual. And I believe that these challenges are not insurmountable. So instead of talking about them, I rather focus on finding solutions to them. And my aspiration for the council membership is therefore focused on finding solution to these challenges, primarily on something I know best, that is training of veterinarians. I feel that, yes, a lot have been said, yes, about improving the curriculum. Yes, we could improve the curriculum, but a major challenge we are having in the university is the funding. The funding for the training. Veterinary medicine is a capital-intensive venture. It requires a lot of, facilities, a lot of funds to, train adequately. So we may have an improved curriculum, but implementing it if the funds are not there. So my focus is to see how we are going to get these funds. And one of the best ways to do that is to see that the VTH bill is passed. Once we have the veterinary teaching hospitals as entities in themselves, not under the university management, just like the human teaching hospitals, they get their subvention directly from the federal government, or maybe from the livestock ministry. Now they can be placed under that. Then the ability to enhance facilities and the training will be there. So, and once you have properly trained, I'm not saying the veterinarians that we are churning out now are not properly trained, but they need to have enhanced skills in tandem with current realities of the veterinary science. And so this is one of my focus. And I believe that when welfare is taken care of, then productivity is increased. And that's why I am passionate about improving welfare of veterinarians and support. And how do we do that? We've talked about expanding the veterinary space. The Veterinary Surgeons Act and the Animal Control Diseases Act equip us, give us the legal backing to do so much. And I believe if this is utilized fully, then we will not be talking about no jobs for veterinarians, because veterinarians fit into a wide array of areas which is covered by these two acts. So in essence, this is what has propelled me. And then we now have the focus of the government on livestock. Federal government is so much interested in, propelling the livestock industry as a means of food security and revenue for this country. And as this focus has been cascading down to the states. In my state, in Borno, the governor, established a livestock management agency last year, and then early this year, late last year too, he formed the Ministry of Livestock, the Ministry of Livestock Resources and Fisheries Development. So all these are opportunities for veterinarians to take center stage. I've reiterated to the government, I said, if you want to succeed in livestock, there is no way veterinarians should not be the driving force or the center stage of it for these ventures to succeed. And the opportunities are enormous. So these are some of my thoughts and aspiration and my focus for, vying for the membership of the council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma, for that. Yes. Both sad and pleased to announce that we still do not have our VCM president on yet, but we'll be taking Dr. Ifeanyi Okosi, who has just returned from fieldwork, and she's available today to also present and to answer our questions. Yes, so we'll be taking her now. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, distinguished colleagues.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, colleagues.
Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning, ma'am.
We can hear you, ma'am.
Good
Yes,
morning,
ma'am.
doctor. We can hear you.
I want to appreciate the young vets for the opportunity they've given to us to talk to the wider veterinary community. It's really a rare privilege. And we're not taking it for granted. Thank you so much. I am Dr. Okosi Riona Ifeanyi, graduated from ABU in 2002, had my DVM, then had my master's and PhD from University of Nigeria and Nsukka, and my College of Veterinary Surgeons Fellowship certificate from there too. I am presently working with National Veterinary Research Institute, VOM, as a senior veterinary research officer. I have the passion for the association. That's why I have brought myself out to serve in the capacity of being a board member in the Veterinary Council of Nigeria. I have worked in so many places, worked in so many committees, both in the church, in the secular world. I am a member of heads of federal establishments in Abia State, where I am presently an ESCO member, a treasurer in the association. And I am a member of Anti-Quackery Committee of Enugu State, NVMA. We have done this work for so many years. I've worked in the Anti-Quackery Committee for more than 7 years, starting from when now Professor Ibe was the VCN registrar there. Then I worked with Dr. Sarah. We are now working with Mr. Kajetan. The work has not been easy. Anti-quackery, trying to reduce quackery in the profession has not been an easy job, but God has been helping us to do that. So I have all it takes to work in the Veterinary Council as a board member. And my vision of contesting is to continue in combating this quackery in the profession. So many of the states don't have these committees instituted. So if, as a member of the board, together with other members, we'll have to work tirelessly to make sure that all the states have this anti-quackery committee in place so that we can reduce anti-quackery to the barest minimal level so that our young vets will have jobs. Then I feel we are talking about funds. The federal government have removed their subvention from the Veterinary Council, and it has been affecting them. But I think we can diversify by venturing into other projects that can be yielding money for the VCN. We can open poultry. In that case, we can employ so many young vets to be working there. A standard poultry. We can be raising funds from there. Also, we can open up a standard lab instead of us going outside the country to go and do sequencing and other projects that people go out, other lab tests. When you're running your PhD, you have to travel outside the country to go and run your samples. When we have a standardized lab being funded by the VCN, it will be generating funds then for the VCN and offering job opportunity for younger veterinarians. We can as well enhance our continuing education program by making it to meet up with international standards. When we run it, like the FAO runs their programs that you can use their certificates to get short-term jobs, it will go a long way to encourage many people to get themselves involved with the continuing education. And we should make it more of a practical-oriented program, not just theory. Many of our graduates don't have their hands on some of these practicals. When you graduate in the East, some of them are not exposed to large animal practice. But when the continuing education is made to be a more practical-oriented program, some of these things can be taught to the young veterinarians so that when they get into the field, they don't get scared of the practice. We should also advocate for more vet schools. We have just limited number of vet schools, but I feel the VCN can push for us to have more vet schools. By so doing, we are serving the public, trying to combat quackery, will increase job employment opportunities for the young veterinarians, and the food security of the nation can as well be taken care of. So, and it is not going to be a single-handed thing that one person can do. It's going to be a collective effort. The Veterinary Council, I learned they've not been working together as a body. We need to work together as a body for us to be able to actualize all our vision, our mission, and the mandate of that Veterinary Council of Nigeria. If we don't work together as a body, as a family, we should leave all our egos behind and see how we can move this profession forward. We should also take care of the welfare of the staff of VCN. In fact, I am so surprised hearing about the millions that are being mentioned that are generated in the Veterinary Council. And the salaries of the staff are not regularly being paid. It is ridiculous. We are supposed to take care of the staff working for us with the funds from the council. When the government now brings their own subvention, we can now take it back. We should not allow the
video.
families.
We want to see your face.
Let's allow her to continue, please. The video is not. Let's allow her to continue. Continue.
Please continue, ma. But if you can put on your video, it will be very good. Please continue.
Exactly. Please continue.
Dr. Ifeanyi, can you hear us?
You can put her on spotlight.
Okay. Just a minute. Dr. Ifeanyi, can you hear us? I think she dropped off. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, she's still here. She's trying to join. Yeah, she's trying to join. She probably dropped off and trying to reconnect. Yeah, I think I see her now. Yes, Dr. Ifeanyi, please continue. I think you have about 2 minutes left.
Dr.
Okay,
Ifeyinwa,
so,
not Ifeanyi. Dr.
sorry,
Ifeyinwa.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, well
Dr.
noted.
Kosi, not Ifeanyi. Sorry
Oh,
for the
okay.
interruption.
Okay, no
So
problem.
I promise there will be accountability. The monies that are being collected in the VCN should be accounted for. We are professionals and we should hold ourselves accountable. We should be transparent in all our financial dealings. I can't see the reason why we raise so much money and we cannot use it for the profession, for the growth of the profession. So many states are going through litigations with the quacks, and the VCN are not supporting them. It is not good. When we are voted in, when we come on board, some of those narratives will be changed. There must be accountability. There must be transparency. Everybody's voice must be heard. Nobody is an embodiment of knowledge. Nobody knows it all. We have to put our heads together to move the profession forward. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Ifeyinwa. Yes. Sorry about the mispronunciation earlier. Yeah. Yes, thank you so much, everyone, for the presentations. They've been quite informative, and I see a lot of engagements have been going on in the Zoom chats and on WhatsApp groups. And also, quite a number of people have commended. I just thought I'll mention this. Some of our senior and older vets who have consistently been with us for a couple of days now. Permit me not to mention their names, not to influence anything or instigate anything, but we just to say that we see you and we appreciate you for joining us. And like we said, we are only facilitating this platform for the veterinary community at large. So this is actually beyond the younger vets. We've been recording the sessions. I've had quite a couple of senior vets reaching out to me, requesting for the recordings. So people have actually been watching this after the session. So, and I believe that hopefully it will help a number of people to make their judgments on the candidates they would like to vote for. Right. That said, we'll be moving on to the questions and answers now. And unfortunately, we are strongly hoping that today will be the last day for these engagements, which means that we might not be able to take the VCM president again. I'm hoping so that today would really be the last day. Yeah. So we'll be going into the questions and answers now. With a couple of questions have been in the chat. We want to join our candidates. Please try to be brief with your responses. We know you have a lot to say. We know you have a lot on your heart to pour out, but please try to be brief so that we can take as many questions as possible. A number of people have accused us for not taking their questions, but our hands are quite tight because we want each candidate to express themselves while we also try to take as many questions as possible within the given time frame that we have. Yes, so please, for each question, we have about 3 minutes for each candidate. We know you might exceed that a little bit, but please try to keep it within 3 minutes as much as possible. Right, so I'll be handing over to my colleague now, Dr. Makinde Ifeoluwa, to proceed with the questions and answers. And yeah, we simply ask the guests to enjoy the rest of the session. Over to you, Dr. Makinde.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Timileyin Oyebade. I'm very grateful. Once again, we appreciate everyone for being part of the interactive session. We've been holding this for the past, I think, 1 week, and we hope that today will be the end and we bring everything to a close. It's very crucial for us to mention that the essence of the interactive session is to create a platform whereby the VCN elections aspirants will interact with the entire veterinary community. And it's not just about the young veterinarians, so to say. And we also see it as a medium whereby people can get to know some of the things on the mind of the aspirants ahead of the elections. Without wasting much time, so far so good. From the beginning of the week, or let me say from the beginning of the interactive sessions up until now, there have been a lot of discoveries about the council, and everyone that has been addressing us have been giving us their perspective, their views, their opinions, what they plan to do. But something looks quite consistent, which is the structural bonding of the members of this council. The constitution and composition Nigeria. Who are those people? When they come together, if in the course of the interactive session, we have some members of the council that are rerunning, and they are letting us understand that there are times when conflict arises, effectiveness of the council. And today again, we have a one-time member of the council talking about the fact that from the council, I want to ask, do we all think there is need to put a system in it? I'm going to spend council. It was reviewed, had internal crisis for 3 good years out of 5 years. And for those 3 good years, there was do we think the VCL requires structural components just to ensure kind of situation? So I'm going to stop Halima Gambo. Yeah, I think Timmy take up the question. He is struggling with his bandwidth. Is Dr. Halima?
Yes. You might need to repeat
Please.
the question.
Yeah, I
Your
think
network
Timmy
was breaking
take
up a
up the
lot.
question. Take up his bandwidth are wobbling. Take up the question since you have a good bandwidth. Or let him chat you up with WhatsApp or anything.
Yeah, I'm trying to locate the question.
Because we can't hear him. I didn't hear all he said.
Yeah, so telling Halima to respond. I think he respond to cracky or wobbling bandwidth.
Sorry, I did not get a single thing of what he
All
has
right.
said. I only had my name at the end. So he may need to repeat all he has.
Yes. I think his question was around optimization of funds for the council and structural management. I believe from a few things I picked from his talk or from his question was around the conflict within the VCN Council for about 3 years, which talks about a lot of structural flaws. So he is asking, how can this be managed? How can the VCN manage the structure and then the funds that are coming in for and of course we've been asking this we've been asking all the candidates so far these same questions. We keep talking about fund, but what about the funds that are coming in already? How can the VCN optimize these funds to actually achieve the vision that is intended? So I believe that is very clear now. So Dr. Halima Gambo, please go ahead. Just if you could help us with 3 minutes thereabouts. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you. If I get you correctly, you are talking about how the funds generated by the VCN can be used judiciously.
Yeah,
it all
can be honest.
comes
Yes,
down to a matter of integrity, doing what should be done right, putting aside sentiments. You've talked about conflict, yes, for the 3 years out of the 5 years of the outgoing board. When we take a critical look at it, most of the conflicts came about because sentiments came in. If we have the focus of the profession at heart, what we intend to do to profile the profession forward, then we will put our personal interests aside. Because if truly we are objective and we are going there to serve, then the interest of the profession is above any single, individual interest. So with that as a basis, I think a lot of things will take their rightful place. And then maybe we need to take a look at the constitution of the mandate of the board, how it is run, and see where problems have arose. How do we tackle these issues? Everybody should be allowed to contribute. And like we said, the VCN works on committee basis. Everyone should perform their function as it should be done. Of course, we are humans with our weaknesses and failings, but then there has to be check mechanisms to, I have consistently observed over my several years of professional experience in various spheres that most times when problems arose and you trace it, it normally comes down to resources and how they are utilized. And I think the VCN is no different from that, and that is why they fell into this crisis. So for us to focus and be productive and push forward and tackle the myriad of issues affecting the profession, then we have to keep our personal interests aside, keep sentiments out of it, and see what is there for the betterment of the profession. And then about funding, again, yes, we said the federal government has withdrawn funding, and we are to diversify and see how we can get other sources of funding. But even with the ones trickling in now, maybe from payment of licenses and from payment of for continuing education and so on and so forth, how are these utilized? I think we can still get back the funding from the government. Everything now, nobody will bother about you if you don't bother about yourself. We have strategically placed veterinarians. We can use them to lobby. Like I've said, you have to propel how important you are before you can be. Nobody will regard you as important if you don't push yourself forward. And that's why I gave example when we mounted that emergency animal response during the flooding. And it brought to the consciousness of the populace, to the government, how important veterinarians are in crisis situations, amongst other things. So if we show the government how important we are, we lobby. We are in a democratic setting. We have several veterinarians that have far-reaching networks that can be utilized to, some will not come forward. We have to seek them out. So we do this, get the funding, and then most importantly, when funds are there, we see that they are judiciously utilized for the profession to be propelled forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I think Dr. Makinde is back now, if you would like to continue.
We can continue so that we don't have a hiccups.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm so sorry. I think there was a lot of pressure on my network because I'm attending to several things at the same time. I've been advised to keep my video off just to make sure that the audio is clear. So the question that I want to ask next, I think I asked a question about the need for a conflict management system that can be internalized within the council, looking at the fact that the constitution and composition of the membership of the council is a bit diverse in terms of the angles where people are coming from. And whether we like it or not, interests we have to submit to a larger interest, which is the interest of the council. But everyone will be coming with, okay, this is what I would like the council to achieve. And in the existence of so many interests, there might be always situations where conflicts will arise. But we don't want a repetition of that kind of conflict that will take so much toll on the performance of the VCN, especially in the coming council. So my next question is going to be about system. Looking at the functionary of the council, we discovered that there are so many things that are not being sustained. Hopefully, the digitization that has been achieved in this current council will be sustained. But prior to the council that we have at the moment, there are so many things. Dr. Charles even mentioned some things, and I want to believe that some of our older colleagues are also aware of some things. Professor Gat Ogundipe of blessed memory used to mention to us during our undergraduate days some of the interventions of the VCN that we are no longer seeing today. And I think the question I want to ask, what system of sustainability of maintenance are you going to institute or see that the VCN institute from the coming council, just to ensure that the gains of every council will be sustained and maintained through the years? I said something that whether we like it or not, all our problems cannot be solved. All our problems cannot be solved by one council. So if you have a tenure of 5 years, you can only do a part and make sure that you execute it to the end. But how do we ensure that that aspect that you have resolved will be permanently resolved and sustained, such that the next council will have to build on rather than demolish what you have established or discontinue what you have established? So how do we institute a sustainable system of the gains of every council, starting from the coming council, especially? Is anybody? Can we hear me?
Yeah. You asked me to unmute. Do you want me to talk?
Yes, we called on you, sir.
Oh, you told me to talk. I think the sustainability. I think the best thing to do is to go to the foundation. I've said it, foundation. And you cannot go into the foundation. You cannot be going to the foundation when you have personal ethos in front of professional ethos. Look at the election of that board. For 3 years, they're in problems. Lack inclusiveness, lacked our diversity. That is the originality of the problem they had for those 3 years. Because if they had gotten it at the foundation, everything would have been topped up. But when you are placing yourself in a position ahead of the profession, that conflicts are bound to come. But when you put yourself that we are one as a team, where is the conflict? That the president and vice president will not be on the same dining table for whatever reason, and you swore to protect our profession. Once you get these things in as a building block from the foundation, and somebody is talking, I think, about, and one thing about the Nigerian government, I know, they have intelligence reports. Okay, why haven't they brought back our funding? Meanwhile, medicine and pharmacy, they brought it back. The first thing, and as original, the first original thing the next board should do is to get our funding back. And then, God so kind, we have had this period that we have been funding ourselves. We improve on it to fund ourselves because we have a lot of things to do with this money. But so far as you have structural institutions in place, the tenders board must be active. The contract the contract monitoring committee should be active. The finance and general purposes should be active. It's not by one man riot squad. Once you put those things in place, and then between God and man, that all you're doing is from the professional ethos and not personal ethos, things will fall in place. But when you start having things in disarray, going to the minister to give you somebody as a registrar, meanwhile you have an institutionalized way of getting a registrar. When Honorable left, his deputy Mado took over. When Mado left, his deputy Avon took over. When Avon left, his deputy Kantiok took over. And then when Kantiok left, why do you go to the minister and him to get somebody? And after getting somebody, you want to throw him back, the person say, you can't throw me back. Because he lacks foundation. And there was that struggle. And then the minister said, okay, you send a letter to me requesting for this man. Let me have a letter recalling him. After sending it, the minister sent Nurala, who came and became a sole administrator. So you don't put things in disarray because you have the power. It's not about sentiment, oiling the machine of sentiment. No, it's about doing what you're supposed to be done. Once all these things are in place, how about lobbying? I have lobbied and I lobbied President Jonathan on NAFDAC. I lobbied Chief of Army Staff, employment of Nigerian Army. Veterinarian, for the first time, it was categorized in the Army. I lobbied the Inspector General of Police. Good thing the VCM president now was doing an inside job for me. Then to employ 56 vets as a swoop in the police. I've done a lot of internal lobbying, external lobbying. So lobbying is not even a problem. We have let me tell you the truth, we have an inroad into the Vice President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, right here in front of us now.
Thank you very much, sir.
An inroad.
Because of time.
Yes. So what I'm trying to say is that leave lobbying apart, we know what to do. And one thing I want to tell us in this profession, we have enough people that can do our lobby for us.
Thank you, sir.
One thing is that get them along the line, like Halima is saying, get them, they do the job for you. Most times.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, but let me round it, Robert. I know I have a very short leg, but I moved to attach my short leg with long legs, people who have long legs, so that I must have long legs by force. So that's the best way to go. I did it in MVMA president, and everybody, my cards are on the table. You can't hide them. So thank you, please. I don't want to do so. And thanks to Young Vets for giving us this platform. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Rionama, let's hear from you.
Okay, thank you. We talked about conflict resolution in the VCN board. A family that cannot agree can never stand. Even husband and wife, they disagree and agree to live together. They have people from different backgrounds. Just like in VCM board, we have people from different backgrounds with different ideologies, different idiosyncrasies, name them. It's just for us to disagree and agree. Once we remove and put our personal interest, our personal ego behind us, and know that we are called to serve, then we will be able to move the VCN to a higher level from where the outgoing members are going to leave it. We will have to. Governance is about continuity. It's just unfortunate that in Nigeria, a government will come in and a particular government will start a project. Another one will come in, he will not want to continue there just because of personal interest, just because the person wants to make more money. You will not jeopardize what the other person had already done. You jeopardize the system because of your personal interest. I think we should put it aside. When we put aside our personal interest, we will be able to move this council to a higher ground. and will reduce the cost of governance, the cost of running the VCN. When we reduce it, it will help us. If, for example, when they go for meeting, you stay in a hotel of maybe 100,000, you can reduce it and go to a hotel of 30,000 so that you'll be able to conserve some funds that will be used to run the VCN. Like I said before, we need extra funding. If we can start other businesses like poultry farms, standardized labs, it will help us a lot. When we go to, like some states have few vets working there, like River State that I just went to, they have only 2 vets in the ministry. It is not good enough for the profession. The VCN has to come in, work together with the DVSs and the NVMA by visiting those states so that those things can change, so that more vets can be employed and our services will be known. We don't have to wait for people to blow our trumpets. We have to blow the trumpet ourselves.
Thank you very much.
We have to create. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. Dr. Halima Gambo. Let's hear from you, Ma.
I think I've spoken first, Doctor. When your network was epileptic.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. My next question is Dr. Ibrahim Adoshe still on the call?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, sir. Please let me hear from you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Doc. I think we need to really sit down and understand some few things. Veterinary Council of Nigeria is an organ of government, and its primary responsibility is regulation of practice and the profession, training and practice of the profession. So we need to find that thin line that separates the Veterinary Council and the NVMA. Because there are a lot of things that people will be asking, will you be able to do A, B, or C? If I come out and tell you I will do it, I will be lying to you because I want you to vote for me. No. We should understand that Veterinary Council has a specific regulations and is governed by that Veterinary Surgeons Act, which is an instrument of the government. I can't come and tell you that if I'm elected to council, I will go and edit the Veterinary Surgeons Act to make it suitable because we want to achieve it. No, things don't work that way. So we need to understand that the Veterinary Council of Nigeria in the VCN Act, it has different committees that regulate even within them the members. And as I said earlier, nobody is bigger than the veterinary profession. And the veterinary profession does not owe us anything, but we owe the veterinary profession something. So we have all the structures in place to manage anything that comes up. And regarding funding, the government withdrew funding, and it was withdrawn even before they even pronounced it. The other associations lobbied and got what they got reinstated, even though still after the reinstatement, they are still yet to be getting what is due to them. It's not rocket science. We have people in government. We have people that are close to the presidency. Whether as a board member or not, any veterinarian that has someone that needs someone, we can come together and collectively push our case to the government. And there is no government in the whole world that will present our case with facts that will not listen. It's just about how we present it and how much pressure we put in presenting it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. The next question I want to ask centers on the directors of veterinary services across the country. They used to be part of the VCN as statutory board members. But with what we know as of today, they are no longer part of the council. So my question is, has any one of you been able to investigate what led to the cessation of directors of veterinary services in becoming part of the VCN? And do you think it is important that they return back to the Veterinary Council of Nigeria? That's my question. I'm starting with Dr. Halima Gambo.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, ma.
Can you hear me
We
now?
can hear you, ma.
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you loud
ma.
and clear.
Oh, okay. If I got you right, you talked about the DVSs being part of the board before they were, taken out. I've always been of the opinion that the exclusion of the DVSs from the VCN board is a disservice to the profession. Why? Because they are the chief veterinary officers at the subnational level. And for every policy that is to be effectively implemented, it has to go through them at the state level. So if they are excluded from the board, one, it's a natural human feeling. For you to push something that you are not part of, you have to be of a large heart, magnanimous. And when somewhere that you are previously there, I've initially talked about sentiments. Yes, we should divorce ourselves from sentiments as much as possible. I have not investigated why they were removed from the board, but I have this strong feeling, strong position that they should be there, because policies cannot be implemented at the state level when the chief veterinary officers of the states are excluded from the decision-making process of the board. I have heard about proposals for regional representation. Maybe a single DVS from the Northeast, another maybe from the 6 geopolitical zones. But I think for Nigeria as a federating state, with animal health on the concurrent list of the focus of the present government, we cannot afford to have regional representation of the DVSs on the board. Every single state has its peculiarities, so they need to be back. If we are really going to push policies that will be for the betterment of the profession. That is
Thank you very much, ma. Thank you very much, ma. Dr. Riona, ma. Dr. Riona. Can you hear me, ma? Okay, Dr. Charles Ibe, let's take you, sir.
You see, I was in the board when all these things were brewing, and we were warning that because you have numerical strength, cannot allow you to veto a lot of things, maybe on selfish interest. And unfortunately for them, they played into some deals. Some land deals they investigated, exonerated some people, did not exonerate some people. And I believe strongly that is what the originality of that. And I think we should call First of all, because it's not going to just with a left, right, or right hand hoover everything. I think the next board should investigate what actually happened. Thank God that Chico Carfor, on whose table that moved to change that move the bill to push them out, is still in the Federal House of Representatives, and he's being supervised by the Speaker of Federal House of Representatives. The best thing we should do when we come in to find a body of investigators to investigate who even went to the parliament to do that job, and who was working. Because you see, when a member of House of Rep is pushing a bill, it's people behind the scene that are pushing him, because he's not a member of it. But the thing I have found out is that the Chico Carfor, who pushed that from, those of you in Imo State, you know about what do you call it? About the Hime Obo Federal Constituency. He's in the same constituency with the one Hillary Bay. They just threw out of because of the land scandals and land deals. So that's the all I can tell you now. But going further, more clue, so that we know our problem and know how we will solve our problem. We know our problem and know how we will solve. If you don't know how your problem, you know how we solve our problem. We need to be investigated. Dispassionate people are appointed to investigate who went to that assembly, National Assembly, to change that law. That is it. Then coming forward, I agree with what Halima said. But you see, what we are looking at dispassionately about animal diseases and animal rights, most of all these things you're talking has been captured under the Animal Diseases Act, on whose table is the Chief Veterinary Officer of the Federation. That's the much I can know. Bring as regional representation first to be on board, and then watch it flow. Driving all of them out is not the best, because even in the states now, they have been in opposition. But fortunately, we have a new set of DVSCs who are really being accommodative, and things are going on in some states. But the problem is that the states lack the fundamental power. The state MVMA and the VCN apparatus lack the fundamental funds to fund those drives to chase away quacks. And that's where the empowering of MVMA should be come on board at this particular time. I think that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Riona Okosi. Are you back, ma?
Yes.
Please respond, ma.
Okay. The exclusion of the DVSs from the board membership of the VCN, I think, is a fundamental error. It's a very big error, which whoever that passed the bill, just like Dr. Ibe said, when the new ESCO comes on board, trying to find out who I don't think is maybe what we will try to do is to bring them back, because the DVSs are the number 001 vets in every state.
Yes,
and you cannot do much without the DVSs. One, the DVS is the chairman of the anti-quackery in all the states. So excluding the DVS from the VCN is not really too good, because the person will not be functioning appropriately. And the DVS is the veterinary activities. When it comes to veterinary programs, veterinary, every letter, every memo that must go to the government in every state is supposed to pass through the DVS. So the DVS is supposed to be an integral part of the VCN. So their exclusion is not good, and I advocate they should be returned back so that we can optimize
Okay.
their usefulness in the VC.
Thank you very much, Ma.
Thank you.
Dr. Ibrahim Adosheu.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I think removing the GVSs was a great disservice to the Veterinary Council of Nigeria. Everything you see has its pros and cons. About investigating or knowing whether people know the people that did it. I think this should be a friendly platform, not to be calling names or saying things that are not supposed to be said. But there are people that did this, and they are veterinarians, our colleagues. And there are people that even used to brag about them being the architects of doing these things. But this is not the forum for us to come and be calling names and be saying things that are inappropriate. So we should leave that for another day. But also on bringing back the DVSs, I think for now, our best approach is to go for that regional representation. Why I said so is the current council board, inclusive of the elected members, the statutory members, and the deans, is close to about, I think, 20 or 21 members. And government is saying they are cutting costs, they have stopped funding us. So imagine bringing back 36 more members. Who is going to fund those members? We are trying to so hard to see how the government will bring back the funding to the council, and all of a sudden we go back to the government and tell them that okay, we still want to add 36 more members to the council. I think we'll be shooting ourselves in the foot. So things are being done gradually, and a representation of the GVSs should be on the board, and end up losing more than we're going to give. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's go to the group chat and look at any of the questions that have not been touched in the course of your interactions with us. So I'm going to be reading this question. What concrete plans do aspirants have to safeguard veterinarians from undue litigation and social media harassment? There have been numerous instances where veterinary professionals and organizations have faced legal threats and online attacks, often having to navigate these challenges alone, even after formally notifying the Veterinary Council and the NVMA. How do the candidates intend to strengthen institutional support, provide legal backing, and ensure veterinarians are not left vulnerable in such situations? So I want to buttress that question that I've had a personal experience, and I think there was a time one of us also had similar experience. I think the person that had the experience was accused of being an internet fraudster or something, while mine was just like, you know, the Nigerian police force stopped me while traveling, and they were trying to, I had to just present my ID card, I had to log into the VCN app just to prove that even though I'm traveling in a private car, I'm not any of the, you know, internet fraudsters that are always their prey. However, we think this question should be answered by our aspirants. So what way can we ensure that professionals are protected? And beyond that, I think we are for me, I'm seeing it as if we are overburdening NVMA. I want us to know, are we saying that litigation issues should be left for NVMA to undo? Or are we saying that why NVMA is so concerned with litigation issues is because at the moment VCN is not adequate enough? Let's also put that in mind and add it to our responses. Thank you. I'm starting with Dr. Halima Gambo. Dr. Halima.
Hello?
We can hear you, ma. Go ahead.
Okay. If I get you right, because it has been cracking at my end, you are talking about what the VCN is doing with regards to litigation, where issues with veterinarians are concerned. I think it's still a question of structural effectiveness. We've just mentioned about the DVS is being excluded from the board. And we said there are the 6 veterinary officers in each of the states. So if they have been there and they are functional as they should be, then the board through the DVSs can be part of litigation issues, because our act, the Animal Disease Control Act, the Veterinary Surgeons Act, empowers us to, handle these issues. So it's a question of structural malfunction, so to say. If the structure is there, the system is working, then the fight will not be left to the NVMA. The NVMA is a pressure group, it's an association. It's not a government entity. Of course, they are, and they have been very active in pushing the profession forward. But I'm of the opinion that the DVSs have to be back, and then the system has to be made robust, or it has to be strengthened so that these issues could be handled adequately. Like we said, working collaboration, makes things better. VCN does its thing, NVMA does its part, but we can't leave it to just one entity. In as much as we have clear demarcation of roles and responsibilities, we should know when to come in and assist each other, because our goal is the same thing, is the overall sustainability and enhancement of the profession. Thank you.
Dr. Ibrahim Adosheu.
Thank you very much, Doc. Still maintain is an organ of the government. If there is an issue with the government, VCN cannot take the government to court. They can, but it's going to look another somehow. VCN taking the government to the court. And when there are issues with education, that's we always tend to use the association, which is the pressure group of the profession, which is the group that is concerned with the welfare of the veterinarians. So it's always easier and better. The NVME can decide to take the Nigerian government to court. Well, VCN as an organ of government taking the Nigerian government to court, for example, it looks somehow. Don't want it. So I think we should understand the statutory rules of each of the organs, so that we know when best to use which of the organs for the betterment of the veterinary profession. There's a second part of your question I didn't get to when you were talking because of the network. Hello?
We don't have
Dr.
much
Michael.
time. Let's just go to the next aspirant, please. Dr. Charles Ibe.
Yeah, I think the way these things work, and because of less time given to me, I couldn't get into some areas. For pharmacies, they have the community pharmacies, the industrial pharmacies. Most of the things that are done on the surface and regulation in the pharmacy council are being driven by industrial pharmacists. So there's a compact synergy on the ground in what they do. And they have all kinds of money. The only thing that have been saving us is connection. So if we have underlying synergy, when I was NVMA president, there are some advocacies funded by our what do you call it? Our corporate vets. They funded it. The only thing is that I push the decision, they do the job. We have not even gone into our areas of specialties, which we might bring on board, and which they might even come on board on self-sponsorship, on what we call auto-regulation, like Savan, equine physicians, poultry physicians, aquatic physicians, name it. They can bring them on board in committee, compact them in committees and do the regulations. And you are not bringing, I know I was talking about the many people coming. And when such committee come, they will be self-funded. Important thing is that what they decide is the policy. We should start looking towards those directions. And when it comes to, sorry, I'm battling with flu. When it comes to some salient, synergistic, compact work between the MVMA and the VCN, one area the VCN can help, which I have said it here, is to help them to achieve funding. And I've said the way even with the volume of money from industrial pharmacists, yet the PCN, the Pharmaceutical Council of Nigeria, is helping the PSN and the community pharmacists. That's where you have superintendent pharmacists that help them to pay their dues down to the local government. If not, your premises will not be registered, and they pay. And then when you have such money, you have and you can drive your force. Whether VCN is looking at your face or not looking at your face, they have been able to empower you. Important thing is that let VCN use policy direction to empower MVMA at any strategic level. We are still battling. MVMA is still battling at state central level. At this stage, we must have at least minimum of, I'm not saying go to local government, at least senatorial zones. I stay in Kaduna. I wonder MVMA Kaduna, what his business in Kafanchan, in Saminaka. And so in some other states. I agree there are some states that are too compact. There are states that
For the sake of time,
that have landmass. I think I have finished. It's not like I'm jumbling on words. So let's look critically inside and see how we can synergize and have an auto-regulation.
Thank you, sir.
From
for the sake
our
of time,
specialty groups.
We need to draw the curtain by 12. Dr. Riona Okosima.
Okay, thank you once again. When it comes to we are talking about litigation. In the veterinary profession. Like I said, and we have gone to the state as a case study. It took us to court, but we won them. You cannot separate of the litigation in the courts. The case lasted for about 2 years. NVMA was the platform we used to raise money that was used for the litigation, for paying the lawyers and other fees. But all the documents that we used for backup came from the VCN. So you cannot separate them. VCN and NVMA has to be working together in cases of litigations. And another thing, you know, in this anti-quackery, private veterinarians are always the target because these quacks, they feel the private vets are the ones trying to close their businesses. So what we try to do when we go out for inspection, we exclude the private vets in the committee so that we don't jeopardize their lives because they're working for the profession. We have to secure their livelihoods from. So will not be affected by the threats of the anti-quacks. So it's only us in the government that goes for the inspection and for sealing of premises.
All right, thank you very much, ma.
You can find out the VCN.
Thank you very much, ma.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma. So in
You're welcome.
1 minute, I want us to collapse this last question. And it is, do you think we are ready to make our faculties evolve to college status so that we can accredit other paraveterinary programs like veterinary pharmacy, just like the way College of Medicine covers physiotherapy, physiology, and offer degrees? Do you think we are at that level that we can evolve to that college status? That's the first question. And the second one is, are we having any plans to be at par with the human medics? Because they are planning that medicine and surgery is going to become a second degree course, which means you must have undergone a course of 4 or 5 years. A course of 4 or 5 years before you can study medicine and surgery at postgraduate level. So please, let's collapse the questions together and respond in just a minute. Dr. Charles Ibe, I'm starting with you, sir.
Please repeat what you're saying.
All right. Our veterinary schools, do you think they are at a point they can evolve to veterinary colleges such that they can offer other paraveterinary courses and award degrees? Then the second question is, medicine and surgery is planning to become a second degree course. How is that going to, are we prepared to be at par if eventually they are able to achieve that?
I think these questions, the colleges of veterinary medicine, I think we have colleges of veterinary medicine in FUNAB or something like that. You must have all it takes to take all it takes. Most of these faculties of, most of these colleges of medicine, like Unijos, I know, Calabar, I know, started as faculty of medicine, medical sciences, before they were able to broaden their scope to go into nursing, radiography, and other areas. But be it as it may, we are battling at the stage we have now. And then there comes the issue of Benin, which is hack down. You don't hack down a faculty. What we should be doing now is to nurturing them to a level it can accommodate all these things you're talking about. But at this stage, I think it is premature.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Rionama, please, let's just take a minute. We will not be able to treat all the questions because of time. Dr. Riona Okosi.
Okay, I think the world is, yes, thank you. I think the world is dynamic and progressive. And we have to confirm with the international standard. As in developed countries, you don't go to read medicine as a first degree course. It's read as a second degree course. So if Nigeria decides to make human medicine a second degree course, then we in the veterinary medicine should try as much as possible to upgrade ourselves to that standard so that we'll meet international standard. We can't keep following at the back. We should find out what is obtainable at every step, at every stage, so that we queue in. The human medics, they always complain, they go to fight for this, fight for that. We don't join them to fight. We only come to go to the back and collect their documents. We should always go along with them so that they don't look at us as second citizens.
Thank you very much, ma. Dr. Halima Gamboma.
Thank you, Doctor, for that. I feel we have so many issues to contend with. We've just talked about enhancing the training and all that. Let's put the facilities and the human resource that is needed, because I have been in this business of teaching. I know what it takes to produce one GVM. So for us, we are battling with some issues, even though we are doing the best we can within the circumstances. So I feel we need to improve on what we have, get to a certain level before we venture into diversification into different.
Thank you very much, ma. Dr. Ibrahim Adoshew.
Thank you, Doc. I think in line with global best practices, we can upgrade our faculties to colleges. But with the current situation, I don't think we are ready to do that. And the option of veterinary medicine being a second degree, I think it's also a very, very good idea, because we get the best out of people coming in to study veterinary medicine, and they'll be able to contribute to the profession. So I think if it's something that is achievable, we can also go for that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Makinde Ifeoluwa, and all our guests and candidates alike, for taking out your time today to be with us and to engage with us, to answer our questions, to ask questions. Thank you so much to both the young vets and the older vets as well. We thank you for taking our time to join us. Just to reiterate in a minute or two that the voting, you need to be registered. I know a lot of people are supporting so many of our candidates, and it's important that you do the right thing to be eligible to vote for them when the voting starts. So please make sure to confirm that you're eligible to vote, that your status shows that it is active and you're ready to go when the voting opens up. That said, we want to finally appreciate everyone for being with us over the past week up till now, for all the questions, for all the engagement. Yes, thank you. God willing, this will be the last that we'll be having, and I do not suppose that we'll be having any other tomorrow or until the voting starts officially. All right, so thank you so much. The Young Veterinarians Association, our emails are open for any requests, conversations, discussions, queries, inquiries. Our email line is open, and my WhatsApp line is also open. You can reach out to me for anything whatsoever, except for money. So
let me say something. Young vets, I
yes.
hope the older vets are protected though, under you. Or do we subsume
Sorry, I didn't get that, sir.
swallow our age to be young vets, so we'll come down to your age to gain your protection. Anyway, it's in a lighter mood. So thank you very much. But please protect the older ones, so that the young shall grow and the old shall die peacefully. God bless you all.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, so it's a wrap. It's a wrap. See you all some other time. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all for
Thank you for